Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting for Tuesday, January 8th, 2013. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In accordance with Mass General Law 30A, everybody should know this by now, Subchapter S 20E, we want to report that this meeting is being taped for the Board of Selectmen's office and also by East Longmeadow Cable Access. And I have to ask if anyone else is taping this meeting. I don't see anyone. Okay, we start out with a public forum, and since we don't have anybody until 6:10, we might as well take the fire chief out of order so we can. You're not supposed to cheer, so we can get him out of here.
It is drill night.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Evening, Paul. How are you? Nice to see you.
Let me
Sir?
meet with you folks. Welcome. This is our first meeting with Pete.
Hey, Deb.
All right, you are here because you've lost some call firefighters, and you're looking to.
We'd like to keep a number around 35. Upwards, we've been up to 40. 35 is a good number for us to maintain a decent number showing up to calls.
Okay.
Lifestyles have changed a little bit. There's a lot of kids involved right now that have family soccer games and stuff like that. So some of our response time and our response numbers, certain times of the year dwindle. So we like to maintain a number like 35, and that keeps our numbers for call response at a good rate.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the training takes about a year. Cycle between the time you start advertising, interview, get them through the physicals, and send them to the Mass Fire Academy for the recruit training to be certified. And then they come back in town, and we do a month or two of just orientation on our equipment and our direct policies that may be just a tad bit different in how we respond and stuff like that compared to the state. And that's about a year, and then they're probationary for another 6 months after that. So to be a firefighter that nobody's going to really worry too much about, it's probably a year and a half to 2 years step. It's a big undertaking for the people that are chosen. The Massive Fire Academy, we used to train in-house once a week. It took about a year. Ballpark numbers, depending on who did the training and how many hours it took, depending on the group, was about a $6,000 bill for the town of East Longmeadow. We took advantage of the state. They started doing a call volunteer program where it's a 6-month program, 2 nights a week, several weekends a month in Springfield, and when they're done, they're certified firefighter 1-2 firefighters, which is what we require for them before they can actually become a probationary firefighter. It saves the town a lot of money. My original goal was, I was actually in the process of writing this letter for July start, interview sometime in May, have them start the physical process in July, whole new budget year, because they were going to have the class starting in end of July or early August. They pushed it up to March because the Pittsfield group that they were going to do in Pittsfield didn't get the enrollment. So now they have a window in their budget, and they were pushed by a bunch of area fire chiefs to do it now in this area. They only do it every 2 years. So it's a good window for us. It's a little tight on our end. Less than 2 months to get the interviews out. Yeah, to find them. I have a few applicants in-house already. I'd like to have 8 or 9 applications to go through to talk to. We typically, the department, we've interviewed them. We appoint them as probation or recruit firefighters. They go through the process, and then they get finalized by the board when they finish up.
Okay. Paul, maybe I missed it. How much is the Springfield deal compared to the $6,000 expenditure for the town?
The only cost for us, which is either way, whether we do it or not, is we need to pay for their physicals, which is about a $300 bill, depending on what they need for vaccines, hepatitis B shots, or tetanus shots. And then we pay for their textbook So total is about a $2,000 expense to the town, which, either way, whether we did it
For all
in-house. What's that?
For all 5.
For all 5. If we did it in-house, we'd still have to pay that. The Mass Academy doesn't charge for the program. Doesn't charge the town of East Longmeadow for sending these guys to this 6-month extensive program, which is, again, it's a home run for us. The money that from homeowners and the insurance company throughout the state funds the Massachusetts Fire Academy.
Okay.
So it's.
And you're down 3 right now?
We had 2 retires last year, 1 relocated to Maine. So we're down 3, and potentially there's several retirements in the next year to 2.5 years.
Okay.
So I'd just like to keep us steady.
So out of your pool, you're able to, you figure number-wise out of a 35,
We're 32 now total.
but out of, if you had 35, you figured that the numbers that can show up to calls is a certain number
Right.
that you really need to
It's a
have
good
as a base.
percentage, right.
Okay. All right.
I think it makes.
And from what I understand, you can work this into your budget.
Yeah, I've worked with Tom. We're in the process of it anyway, so it was perfect just to change gears a little bit. We have some money in the budget that we can reallocate.
Okay.
We buy a certain number of turnout gear a year and a certain number of bottles a year.
Right, which
I
makes
can
sense,
just-
keep on turning it
I
over.
can just change the cycle a little bit. One set of turnout gear is $2,000.
Okay.
So I can change the cycle a bit on that.
And that'll keep you at your level from last year?
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah,
good. And
So-
provides the town with more safety.
right.
Right.
And the fire department's safer too, with the right amount of personnel.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yes, is there a motion on the floor to?
Make a motion that we support your application to send 5.
I second. Second.
Any discussion?
No?
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go.
Appreciate it.
And the only other item, which I don't know if you wanted to say, I know you posted it, gave it to the press, is that the burning permits?
Open burning starts January 15th, per Mass state law, and runs to May 1st. Tickets, permits are available at the fire department Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. for $5. It's a season-long permit. I did send out an email today, and I'm going to mention it tomorrow at the department head meeting. We've had some concerns in the past. Smoke's been getting into school systems during the day, and I wanted the principals all to know that any concerns or any issues, give the fire department a call, because in the regulations, we can halt the burning immediately. So.
Okay.
And the
Good.
same thing with residents, if they have any concerns, we can handle it.
There
Good.
was one other issue from last week, and I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but there was, one of your retirees was looking for a 20-year letter.
Right.
Is that to be discussed later?
I'm not sure, so can we talk about that, Nick?
That was not an issue on the agenda, but certainly that would be at the board's,
It's up to you, Mr. Chairman.
Why don't we table it till next, you'll be back on the 22nd, I believe.
Correct.
Yeah, we'll table it till then.
Great.
Okay, pretty good,
very
thanks, Paul.
much.
Thanks for your time. Doing this short notice. I appreciate it.
Good to see you, good job.
Next on the agenda is our esteemed moderator. Not steamed moderator, but esteemed. Only sometimes during these town meetings. Nice
Nice to see you.
Good to see you, Jim.
How are you tonight?
I'm well, thank you. Yourself?
Good, thanks. And you are here because we had an opening on the Capital Planning Commission, and I believe you have a worthy candidate.
I did, just by way of background and congratulations to the 2 new board members.
Thank you.
Last time I was here, you were not, so I will tell you that if you treat me well here, I will treat you well at town meeting.
Duly
Quid,
noted.
what's that, quid pro quo?
Quid pro quo. Just by way of background, there is an opening, there has been an opening on the Capital Planning Committee, and the town's bylaws made the Board of Selectmen and the town moderator the appointing authority. And at the meeting I attended in December, word was put out that if anybody was interested in applying, to send their applications in either to Nick or to me. I have received 1 application from Tom O'Connor, who you know from the Board of Registrars, a business executive, worked many years for Mass Mutual and others. I don't believe there were any other applications. I've had a conversation with Eric Madison, who's the chair of capital planning, and he knows of Tom and is quite comfortable with Tom. So given that that was the only application, I would suggest that we exercise our authority to appoint Tom to the capital planning committee.
Well, yeah, obviously I also know Tom, and I think he'd be a great addition to the, and it'd be nice to have a full committee also, you know.
Especially as we're, I mean, the capital planning committee's already been hard at work
Right.
for some time, but we are heading into the very busiest time of the year.
Right.
So, yes, I would like to get to the full swing as you do.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept Mr. O'Connor as a member of the capital planning committee?
Make the motion.
Is there a second?
I will second it.
Any discussion?
I would just like to say that I've had an opportunity to talk with Tom many times, watched him go through the recount process this past weekend. I've watched him at the voting polls, a very professional man, discusses things in a professional manner, and I'm impressed with his work experience. I had no idea. He's been there, so I'm sure he'll do a wonderful job.
We're very fortunate to have people
Good.
like Tom
Yeah.
apply for the capital planning committee and the appropriations committee, both near and dear to my heart, are extraordinarily important committees, and we're very fortunate to have very talented and very hardworking individuals on both committees.
Well, having sat on the Appropriations Committee before several times, and been in front of them also several times in another capacity, it's a group that's really needed great thinkers and down-to-earth people looking out for our money, and Tom, I think, will fit right in there.
Congratulations. Great.
We
All
got
in
a vote?
favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, I think that's it,
I think
right?
that's it.
Yep.
Thank
you,
you very
sir.
much.
Jim, see you later, thanks.
Okay. Our next appointment, we're actually running, well, a minute early, is Heather Cunningham. Heather?
There was a couple other people that were.
Would you like to hold off until they get here?
No.
Because we can do a couple other things. It's totally up to you.
But if you want me to wait a couple minutes.
No, it's up to you.
I'm waiting.
It's up to you.
Okay.
How are you? How are you? Happy New Year.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Good evening, how are you?
Congratulations, both of you.
Thank you.
So do you want me to go back to the beginning, or do you want to pick up where we left off?
Well, how far back is the beginning?
October 16th.
2009?
Well, we know.
Back in 1977?
There you go. We know basically your plan. And I know now we're here, you're looking for a few things from the town, actually. I know, let's see, where am I here? Yes, we're looking for, yeah. Actually, that came in like in the middle of the afternoon today.
Yeah.
And we obviously haven't had a chance to let our town council take a look at it, so obviously we want to do that, so he can review it.
So I guess we should take a break and let him review it then?
Well, he won't do it right now, we'll have to, we can't, I don't think, no, so.
See, I wasn't sure whether I was supposed to do that, or town council was supposed to do that.
What's that, review it?
No, do the MOU, actually put it.
Well, in theory, yeah, it would be,
So I
it would be,
wasn't sure.
because you're a private organization, it would, it makes sense for you to do the MOU, and then we'll review it and see what, how it flies, and if any changes have to be made, and then we'll, we'll go from there. I know you had some requests here, I don't know if you want to go over those also.
Absolutely. Whatever we can get done.
Now, once again, we're dealing with a couple things. I still have that, and I think the town attorney will support me on this. We still have this bugaboo of we have to get, for certain things, the town's permission to use the property. So there's certain things that, and I'm speaking for myself, that may not be able to be done until the town meeting and until at such time that you get the town to say, yes, we want to go forward with this project. So, and keep, actually, maybe I will invite the town council up here, if I can wake them up over there.
And the three things that I
Do you mind
did
coming
get-
up for this discussion?
I'll move over for you now. It's okay. I've not been up for you.
Just make it feel important.
Hey, Jim. Good, you?
I don't know if you got this, but that was what were the things that were proposed, and I still have this, thing sticking in my head that until we actually get permission from the town to use this property for this purpose, there's certain things that I don't think can be done, but that may be just me. If you feel free to tell me otherwise, because by no means am I always or often right, so.
I think you are right. I mean, my understanding of the original vote at the town meeting was to acquire the property.
Right.
And there was a general overview of the various uses to which the property could be put, all of which were permissible under the Community Preservation Act for those uses. But the town has yet to delineate what portions of the property are going to be used for which purposes.
Right.
And so, what I said at the last time this was before the board, it's my belief that before you go out and commit to do certain things to certain areas of the property, that the town make a determination as to what areas of the properties are going to be considered at this point, open space, recreation, whatever other uses there may be. And once that's done, then the town, through its various departments with other organizations, has the ability to work to develop those uses on the property. I think here, it's a move a little ahead of where the town actually is.
Right.
The citizens are more organized than the town actually is at this point, I think.
We are the town now.
Well, so being new, I'm going to ask some questions because I am new here. I've read the 188-page report that the Board of Selectmen asked the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission to create for us after the acquisition of this property. We said it could be used for meeting a number of needs that we, this town, have. One of them being open space, recreation, affordable housing, and recreational facilities. And within their report, they talk about the fact that we don't meet our 10% of affordable housing requirements, that right now we have 431 units, that's 7% of the 10%. That's one use. Now, I do know there was a town meeting of about 30 residents, and they talked about that and didn't like that idea so much. I understand that much of the process. I understand that we also have a need for fields, that right now there are 95 soccer and lacrosse teams vying for different fields, that we rely on public property, that we have 37 recreation department baseball teams vying for our fields, and that was another option that the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission talked about. And there are a number of different venues that they put together for housing and fields and so on. And you're right, it appears that we need to get our act together and make a decision about what that property needs to be. I applaud the work that you're doing.
Well, thank you.
I applaud the work that you're doing.
Can I continue from where you left off a little bit? Because basically where we're at is 100 feet off of the street to put in community gardens, and I have a conceptual plan in my hand. It does not interfere with the future plans of where a field would be put. So, and we are the town. Everyone that's involved in this is from the town. We are town citizens. We're coming forward to, be able to use this land and have permission to do things on it. It's not, it's preservation. It's not, we're not demolishing. We're not ripping down trees. We're not reconstructing anything. We are preserving this land, and we as a community want to use this land.
Right.
So all of the requests and everything that I've written before are all, I believe, the proper steps to take. And I think we're all have taken the proper steps, and we need to,
But I think I think the ultimate thing is, when you say the town, I mean, I know you're town residents, just like I'm town residents, and everyone, well, majority of people in your town residents, but when we say the town has to agree on it, that's a vote of the town at town meeting. It's not 10 people here or 20 people here, and once again, I could be wrong about this, but it's a vote of the majority of the town as to what the town's version of the highest and best use for the property. So that's why I don't want, and I think I always use this bad analogy, especially considering, putting a cart before the horse, but I don't think we can jump ahead here with a lot of things until the town as a body says, yes, go ahead with your project. But if we start saying, if we allow certain things to happen that are capital intensive, and then all of a sudden there's a vote of the town to put fields there, then we've used this money for something that, that ultimately wouldn't have been intended.
and let me clarify that, we're not asking any money from the town right now.
Okay.
So everything that we're doing isn't requiring monies
Okay.
from the town.
If
We
I
are
can
trying
make
to
a-
put something forward without spending $25,000 on another report and actually getting volunteers and people who are actually willing to go out and use passive recreation and clear trails and go out there and plant plants. I mean, it's not, we're not asking for money. So I was under the impression that if we went before the town to overturn a vote, it would be if we were asking for money, that we would
No,
need a town vote
use.
for that.
If I could, I have quite a bit of history with the property. I was the chairman of the Community Preservation Committee when this offer came from a realtor to my phone, and I called a meeting with the CPC at that time, and we got together and brought forth a proposal to the town. The vote for the town was for us to purchase the property because there's a deficiency in the number of recreational facilities in town for us to use without renting, so, to call them our own. And it made sense to have a contiguous piece of property that the town owned from Hamden Road all the way over to Porter Road that also contained a vast area for people to enjoy open space. I am also the liaison to the CPC now from the Board of Selectmen, and I've already been in touch with Chairman Kingston, and I'm going to be sitting in with a meeting with them and try to bring forth, we voted last time to have the study done, didn't we? Was that correct? Did we authorize the study to be
There was one done in
done?
1998.
Yeah, but we had done a delineation study. Wasn't that
that's
something we
done.
voted on last
That's done
time?
Is that, yeah, is that the Pioneer Valley Planning?
That's the environmental.
Done in
delineation
2000.
has been
Okay.
Okay, well,
What did we vote on last time?
to conduct studies relative to asbestos and, or
Okay, for the-
potential
For-
toxic.
For the stable and stuff, okay.
Which is what I put in. I put a request to hire for that.
I think at this point, to honor the vote of the town, we need to visit fully and exhaust all the opportunities to bring to fruition the original plan. So I think that in my mind, as a former CPC chair and one of the people that actually got the town to purchase the land, brought the offer to the town, I think we should see that through. It's a viable project. We need to be told how many fields we can have and so forth that we can't have. And what you're asking for goes along with the use of the land. But I agree with Paul that, with all due respect to your efforts, that we need to follow through on the original promise to the town, which was the reason for their vote to support the purchase of the property. So I think we should see that through. It hasn't been done yet. I'm here as a liaison, and it's part of the work that I want to get done as a member of the Board of Selectmen. So that's my outlook on it.
Okay, if I may, I mean, I wasn't, not to disagree with you, but I know
That's fine.
when we voted on the property originally, it was for open space. I know Ned Overnesser had a wonderful presentation about
Right.
what it could
What
be.
if, right.
Yeah, it's almost like, like the Disney, I don't say Disney World because I don't mean in a negative sense, but it was great. It was what the property could be. But at that time, I'm pretty sure we were just buying it for open space, and I'm pretty sure the
And
Pioneer Valley.
recreation.
Well, yeah, but the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, I think, had done a study, and they had, I remember going to their meeting, and they had fields set out, and they had different
Yeah,
scenarios, because
3
I
different
believe
scenarios,
only,
yeah.
Three?
I believe only 10% of that property is available for fields. The rest is
Correct.
wetlands and
Correct.
woods and things. So I guess what I'm saying is, I'm not against, my theory is whoever comes to town meeting gets the support, I'd be
Fine.
willing to carry on with. So if you get the support, that's fine, so I'm not saying, I don't want you to think we're not, we're shooting you down, we're not, it's just a matter of,
Getting it in the
we've
right
got to get
place.
guidance by the vote of the taxpayers as to how to proceed.
Okay, I hear that and I've heard that, and just I want to clarify a few things and with due respect.
Yeah, that's fine.
I have gone before the CPC, and they have backed this. I have gone to other departments, and they seem all for this. And also, in addition to that, there are 4 plans on the Pioneer Valley report, and the 4th plan is clearly for open space
space,
and
right,
passive
yeah.
recreation. When I put in a proposal in October, it was for keeping the building standing
Right.
and using a site plan off of site plan number 4. So that is in writing and before everyone. So
My only problem is, I can see it happening
I
myself.
just want to see, what at the next point, since Are we taking this under advisement, or where's the direction that I should be going for? Paul, give me some direction on
I'm
this.
hearing it needs to go
If I
before
could
the town.
try to put this in what I believe the proper perspective is, that this is now municipal land. It's
Right.
under the control of the town fathers, which is the Board of Selectmen and the other elected officials. And what the board, I believe, the appropriate course is for the board to determine the appropriate uses for the property, and then to implement those through the appropriate municipal departments. At that point, if there are friends organizations that want to help that department or those departments expand, maintain, use those facilities, improve them, that's their option to work with that department to do it. I don't believe the appropriate function is for a group of friends of the community to take control of property and manage it. They're to work, most friends organizations, all that I'm familiar with actually, work in conjunction with and as an adjunct to a municipal board or department that is performing services, such as Friends of the Library. They work with the library trustees and the library staff. So what I'm suggesting is for the town to determine, the town being basically the town fathers and mothers, to determine the appropriate uses to which this parcel or is to be put, to designate the departments that you believe should be in control of those portions of the property. And then it's appropriate for friends groups such as this to come in and work with those departments to accomplish the goals that the town wants and the friends are trying to accomplish.
Okay, now, I'm sorry. I understand that, and there's three of us sitting up here, but I also, am I wrong in thinking, we've got, in theory, if you want to go by Pioneer Valley Planning or whoever, more than one theoretical proposal, although really only one has come forward. We're three people, but we're representing 11,000 voters. Am I wrong in thinking that we leave this up to the voters to decide the use of this? Because I don't think it's fair for, regardless of town fathers, town mothers, I don't think it's fair for three people to determine the use of this property exclusive of the 11,000 people that they represent.
And let me just put this in, and I can't speak to what is the belief of the members of the board as to what's appropriate or not appropriate. I think that the board has the ability to make that determination,
Right.
how to use that property. The board also has the ability to say, this is a decision that is, in my estimation, speaking as board members, something that we could make, but I think the town, because of the size of this parcel and the use of this, should have some input, and let's present a plan to town meeting for their consideration. That's possible. You don't have to do it, but that's
Right.
one way to do it.
If I
okay.
may, just as a new selectman on this board, I would like to hear from the department heads of the town about their opinions about, and again, this is my second meeting, and I've done the best I could to understand this 130-page document, and I've been at the meetings where you've presented, and again, love gardens, I love the whole idea. And I think that we owe it to you and others to sooner rather than later. I would like to meet with the department heads of the town and talk about this property and what their thoughts and ideas are. And so we have Lynn from the Housing Authority, and we have the rec department, and we have all those others who have thoughts about, and gather that information, and then make a commitment as a board to, after gathering that information, say, well, this is what we think is best, including this, and this, and make that presentation. I think that we owe that to you. We've had this property, and again,
That's kind of where I'm coming from. This sounds great, and I can see you going through the trails. I'm a garden guy, flowers, I love it. I just don't want to break, so to speak, a promise to the town why we brought it to them. So if the town decides that it's okay, I have absolutely no problem with it whatsoever. Just have to do it correctly, that's all.
Okay, and just so saying,
Yeah.
I have met with the DPW, they find that this is a good idea. Planning board, same thing. The CPC, I met with them the same night as your meeting last week, and they are supporting this. So I definitely can't wait for you to sit down, and I hope we do it in a timely manner, because it's January thaw.
Well,
Yeah, I'll be with George.
Once again,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Well, I think that I'm hearing from, that we all need to make a decision about this, and we do hope that you respect that you've got two newbies sitting at the table
Absolutely.
here, and I think that once that I hear from some of our department heads who have some thoughts and ideas about this, and the rest of the plan, though, I
Right.
think what I'm hearing from council is, we need to make a decision about the property, not just a piece of it, but let's make a decision about what it's going to look like and what it's going to include, so that we can make a good presentation at town meeting, which includes all of the wonderful ideas that you have, as well as meeting the needs that we have as a town.
Can I show you these tonight?
Please.
So you have an idea of what the area is.
This is the garden?
These are my production here, and a group of us went out and we actually measured. So you have an idea. This is off of Camden Road here. This would be the entranceway that's diagonally across from the school. These are the buildings in the back. So you can see as you drive up the driveway how far away in this area that we are here, that we are proposing tonight for gardens. It's not, it's
Where's
Yeah.
this current structure?
right here.
Back there.
Okay.
And that's the house that...
And these are the houses, so
Right.
it's just right
That's the former
alongside
house
the
that was
house.
part of your plot
There's an
plan, yeah.
old existing fence that used to be, yes, this is all
Part of your
gardens. These are raised beds. This is the existing corral fence that used to run across the drive. And so as you can see, the fence is here about, measuring behind the barn, it's a little over 100 feet. And then from there to the barn. I mean, this is 100 feet off of the road. This existing sign is 42 feet from the road. And these are the gardens, without taking a tree down,
Very nice.
That's all you want to do?
without,
Well,
yes.
for now, yeah.
Yeah, for
And
now,
that-
and this is, I know that's sort of people seem to think that it's an urgency, but it's
You don't want to plant
a
in
little
August?
piece of land that we want an approval to be able to have a group of people come in and put community gardens in.
It's a really great idea.
Thank you.
And obviously...
It's a really great idea, and if you'll just
Bear with
bear
us a
with
little
us.
bit, just a little bit.
Just let us become more educated so that we can.
But just so you all know, we do have big plans. We have a beautiful piece of property here, and we want to keep it for open space and passive recreation. So I'm not saying that we don't need or want soccer fields, and I never did say that. I'm just saying, we as the community and we as the people, this property's been sitting since 2009. It is 2013. Can we do something with this property?
Mhm.
And
I've been
I've said
unhappy
that time
about
and
it,
time
too.
again, so. And I would also like to give you a few things that I didn't get a chance to email over because I didn't have the ability. And also I didn't make more copies, so I want to leave those with you, which is our list of our board members.
Oh, by the way, next
Mention-
website.
Oh, good, I'm glad you checked it out.
Yes,
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah, we're very proud of it. I have to say, we have an absolutely fabulous board. We have a wonderful group of people that are working really well together, and we just are all really moving towards the same goal. So it's nice.
And obviously, if you all have this enthusiasm for it, and I think,
We're not giving up.
I was saying, I think you take that enthusiasm and gear it towards the town meeting, and getting this, getting your idea passed, and
Well, I think that, do we really need a town meeting, or can we just have an approval if
well, no,
we
we...
talk to the board?
Once again, my opinion is we need a town meeting, because once again, we've got 11,000 voters and 3 of us, so. But that's not saying that you can't do the gardens.
Okay.
We realize
Yeah,
that's
part of the
time,
proposal.
that's, what
Okay.
I say, time sensitive, date sensitive, weather sensitive, but anyways.
Okay, so I guess, well, you're saying still, as we sit here before you tonight, that regardless of what I'm putting in for requests, that you feel that these requests need to wait until a town meeting?
Some of them don't, some of them do, but we'll have to review them and the new information you give us, and then we'll,
Okay, so was it,
see, my thought process, and this is just me, and I'm not speaking to the board, is that as far as the gardens go, because that's something that, for lack of a better word, isn't permanent. If something happened where you put those in, and then by town vote, they decide to put fields in, or, whatever, then those would have to be gone, and you would know that ahead of time. But the permanent use of the property, I think, is something that the townspeople have to have a say in as a vote.
I would agree with that.
And I just, I'm kind of in the forefront of it, and I don't want to be the person that promised the town something that didn't deliver at least an effort to bring that promise to fruition. That's where I'm coming from. Just understand, I have nothing against anything that's you propose, as long as we can have the right relationship between your so-called, your type of ownership of your, whatever you're doing in the town, okay? You just have to bring it forward to the people that they voted for a different reason. Partially because of this, but I know a lot of people wanted it for recreational purpose. I understand it's just a small portion of it can be for that, but I just don't want to be the guy that said something that did something else.
But if you think of it, you're the first person in 4 years that's come up with a plan,
Yeah.
so.
It's been a part of
Regardless
frustration
who
for
won
me,
in fields or
too.
whatever, you're the only one that's come up with a plan, so
Ple-
I would run with that.
Please be aware, I've been frustrated with the lack of anything happening in the land myself.
Okay. We good, Paul?
Yes.
So anyways, let me just, so
Yeah,
this
why don't you give
was,
us-
these were the things that I didn't send over, which was the timeline. You have the MOU, the request, our mission statement, and a list of all of our contacts for the board.
Oh, okay.
So that is everyone that's on our board, and I didn't duplicate, I apologize.
We'll get copies of those for
Okay.
everybody, so.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
So much thing, that's fine.
I don't think. Well, that's my thought,
It's his
not
thought,
as a
yeah,
board,
we have to decide.
you know.
Just dirt and seeds.
I know. But I figure it can wait a meeting, because right now it's snow and ice. Although after this weekend, it may not be, so. All right.
Oh, okay, do you want a copy of this, because you need to get more, I can leave you a copy of this.
Oh, sure, yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, because we still have to have it stamped and stuff.
Okay,
Is
thank
there-
you.
Is there, can I still talk? Are we all?
No, we don't-
Is
you can
there-
still talk.
Is there a time that maybe that we would be able to get back on this? Like say if the council were to decide on this, is there a time frame that we could be under so that we could go back to the board and say they are taking it under advisement, they're getting back to us in a week or two, a month, whenever?
We'll definitely have, you think, how soon
I'm
do you think?
thinking
Next meeting?
with permission, we need to try to get, I know all three of us meet at some meeting, but I'd like to meet with the department heads, and I know they have regular meetings. So if we can figure something out so that we can meet with the department heads and have a conversation about this.
Would you like us present so that we can present anything? or
Well,
do we
you
have
said
enough
you've already met
information?
with all of them, correct?
Well, I've spoken to everyone. I've gone before the
So-
DPW, planning board. I don't know if there's anyone I've forgotten. So if there is, I'd love to join you.
Okay.
As far as the department heads, in lieu of us having to post a meeting, I don't know if you went and reported back to us. Maybe we could put it on the agenda for the next meeting. And then maybe, and I'm just saying, I'm speaking
be
for
great.
myself, but maybe, maybe next meeting we could decide at least on the gardens. And that way, that would give you a
I
timeline,
know
so.
everyone would be thankful for that.
Okay, so I will commit to going to the next department head meeting.
It's tomorrow. No. I think it is, isn't it?
By the way,
FYI, it's tomorrow.
Is that, I don't know that that's
I believe
enough
so. I don't know what to
notice.
ask.
Probably not. Do they have an agenda? The department.
Well, you know what? I don't know if it would make sense to bring it up, but we're meeting with all of them next Wednesday for their budgets. Well, can we?
For the board of selectmen.
But it's not a public meeting.
Yeah, that's true,
That's
yeah.
your
Yeah, that's
private
true.
board,
Yeah.
correct?
But we can chat with them, right?
At tomorrow's department heads meeting?
Yes.
If you wanted to go to the meeting, let Chief Morris said, well, I'll just.
I'll go to the meeting tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bring it up, and then maybe set up individual meetings with department heads there. I'm sure everybody
Okay.
has opinions about the ground property.
Great.
Okay, great.
And then you'll get back to me, Nick, on that?
On the department head
As far as
meeting?
coming back to before.
Yeah, like I
the
said, hopefully
selectmen
we'll
again.
have something for you to be able to report on at our next meeting, which is what, 2 weeks from today?
Yep.
So, okay,
Sounds great.
all right.
How's that for progress?
Sounds super.
well, it's obvious that my words aren't well received, that
What do you mean?
partially, but I really think that we have a responsibility to follow through with the initial reason why it was purchased
Well-
and deal with what we have after that.
Well, I agree, but if no one comes forward with a proposal, then.
Yeah, I mean, if the
nothing
town wants to
falls, you know.
change the use, that's fine,
Well,
but
it's not
I don't want to be
changing
the guy
use, I
that,
mean,
like I said, that promised to get the town to spend over $1 million.
But that wasn't, like I said, and not to disagree, but when we did this, we did it for open space. The fields were more or less a possibility, but it wasn't something that was
Okay,
promised.
on the CPC discussion, it was for both, and we realized that a lot of it was not viable land to build anything on, but certainly it was, there was a
Okay.
part that was viable. So in the spirit of why it was brought forward to the town with CPC, that was definitely one of the reasons.
So
Right,
I would feel better
housing
speaking.
being the third.
I'll go to the meeting tomorrow, and
Okay.
we'll,
But ultimately, if we brought, whatever plan is brought to town meeting, if they
If they
vote
vote
on
for it, that's
then
fine with me,
yeah,
no
because
problem.
that's the-
But just
okay.
please understand where I'm
Yeah,
coming from.
no, I realize.
Okay?
All right. Next. Now for
Okay.
something completely different, our town accountant. Happy New Year, sir.
Just
New Year, congratulations. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Okay, you are here to discuss budgets.
Yeah, so around this time of the year, I start to come around and talk about fiscal year 14 budget development, which is underway, and it's been underway. 14 would start July 1st, coming up. And we're pretty much on our way of completing that, which is due to you and Appropriations Committee on Thursday.
10th, yeah.
So everything's looking good there. You'll get the forms, they'll be pretty much complete, 100%. There might be some things we have to clean up for a week or two after that, and I understand you folks have to meet.
Yeah, we're
Coming in
meeting the
new
16th,
and
yeah.
trying to determine where you want to go with your budget. So that process is going to start, and Appropriations is going to start to meet weekly and just going through every line item of the budget. So that's going well. As far as fiscal year 13, starting now, we really get serious about looking at projections for each department to determine if there are needs versus what was budgeted. And right now, there are some concerns for fiscal year 13 relative to a few departments, and we're looking at doing a new general fund reserve transfer policy, which would basically mean that if we do see needs over and above the budget that was approved, the department head and I would agree on the projection and then come to you first to review that. And then hopefully you would approve it, and then we'd go right to appropriations. Because it requires, our policy in the past has been Board of Selectmen and appropriations
Right.
to do a general fund reserve transfer. So that'll be coming in the next few weeks. As far as fiscal year 13, you may have heard that the state's revenues coming in are below projection. So there is some discussion of possible Chapter 70 reductions. And I just, for the town of East Longmeadow, because we under budgeted our revenues significantly below what we will be receiving, I don't see that to be a concern for us right now. Okay, so I wouldn't, word is going around and people are starting to discuss it, but if they did, if 9C did get enacted, which 9C I think they're starting to discuss, we'll be fine. Up to a certain level, we'll be fine, and if we saw it was going to be worse than what we thought, we would come to you.
what percentage reduction are we anticipating?
Well, they're talking about 1% right now. I think it's hard to know exactly what it is they want to do until they get through December. Look at December's projections, because December's the big month. And they usually do that in January, so they're finishing up their projections and doing their House 1 budget, which should be coming in the next few weeks, I heard. So I think we'll be hearing more.
How
about the
how
state
far
level.
did you underestimate the revenues? What percentage? So if you're looking at probably 1%, did you underestimate the revenues at 2%, so you still have a 1% buffer, or where were you?
We're 5% below.
Okay, so
Right.
there's plenty of room there.
Yeah.
But what dollar amount does the 1%?
It would be about 100,000. I think the worst I've seen in the last couple of years, when we took the 9C cuts in fiscal year 2010, I believe it was, it hit us about 180,000. And that was severe, so. I think, even if we took a $300,000 hit, which would be, 15%, I think we'd be fine. And it's just my first time here. I just wanted to know if you had any questions, and you know, my door's always open, so
I've been using your doorway, you know that.
that's fine. That's fine.
Is it possible for me to get a comparison of the FY 2013? Sorry, that's what you're giving us, the 12? So that I'm looking at the projections for 2013, I was able to look back and see where they were in 12, so that I have an understanding of where increases might have been or are going.
Per department, you mean?
Yes, please.
Yeah, when you have, when you get the department submissions, that will be included in. We have 2010 through fiscal year 2012 actuals by line item.
Beautiful.
And then we have fiscal year 2013, which is a detailed projection based on department heads and myself, and then the fiscal year 14.
Perfect.
So you'll see the 5 years.
Great, thank you. Well done.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yep. Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Good luck.
And I will
Thank you very much. Yep.
Okay, our next appointment is change of substitute manager for Spoleto Restaurant.
Hello.
You're a solo act today, huh?
I am. We have a big night over there. I got all the
Oh, yes,
heavy
so I
hitters.
heard,
over
yes.
there. Hi.
Nice to see you.
Congratulations.
You're dealing with
Hello.
Charlie
Nice
over
to
there,
see
right?
you.
Good to see you.
It's been wonderful.
Good,
It's
good.
good to be back.
Good.
It's good to be back.
All right, let's see. So you used to be there,
I was.
then you left,
Then
now
I
you're back.
And now I'm back.
Okay, so you know all the,
I-
your get serve safe tips, everything, you're
Absolutely.
qualified?
Absolutely, and
Okay.
my entire staff as well. And those who aren't are being certified in March.
Okay.
There's about 3 employees out of my staff of 32 that aren't employed, that aren't tip safe currently.
Okay.
And they've already set up the appointments to get it done.
Great, all right.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Any questions, comments from the board?
No, I've read the information, it just seems pretty normal.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the substitute manager for Spoletos?
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Yeah, there's a I do have one question. Why is it different than the requests from Pride? As far as, let me see, let me get back to my page. As far as one being a hearing and one not being a hearing, one's an appointment, one's a hearing. Why are they different?
Change of management as opposed to a substitute manager.
And it's, so one, because one deals with selling alcohol to the public, or what is it?
Manager is a requirement for a public hearing
Right.
through the ABCC. The
That's what I
substitute
figured.
manager provision was one that was adopted locally by the Board of Selectmen several years ago.
Okay. Very good.
Any other questions?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Take care.
Best luck.
Okay. Now, our 6:50 hearing is Pride Convenience. Come on up, folks. The jackets were a dead giveaway, in case you're ready. I'll tell you. How are you?
Good evening, how do you do?
Congratulations. Hi, Deborah Baronski, nice to meet you. Hi.
Paul Franco.
Paul.
Hi, Paul Franco.
Hey, Paul, how are you?
Good to see you.
Frank, how you been? Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Okay, you folks are here for a change of manager and also, let's see, I believe also a change of substitute manager. So if the clerk could read the notice into record?
Dated December 24th, 2012, notice is hereby given under Chapter 138 of General Laws that Pride Convenience, Inc., DBA, Pride Market, 13 North Main Street, East Longmeadow, Massachusetts. Robert Bolduc, Chief Operating Officer, has applied for a change of management from Bernadette Bain to Paul E. Francoeur. The Board of Selectmen, as licensing authority, proposes to act thereon at the Selectmen's meeting on Tuesday, January 8th, 2013, 6:50 p.m. in the Selectmen's meeting room at the East Longmeadow Town Hall.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, does anyone have any questions? Have you, if I may start, have you managed any facilities before?
I've have a 15-year history in the convenience store industry. I've worked for Pride total of 6 years.
And did those other facilities include, sale of liquor, beer and wine?
No.
Okay. I know you don't need any formal certification, but obviously you're aware of the, sales to minors and et cetera, so hopefully you'll keep good tabs on that.
Well, we have gone through, me and my staff, we've all gone through TIPS training.
Oh, good. Okay.
And we talk every day about the importance of checking ID, verifying it, take your time, slow it down. I think from what I've seen, that is where we can make a mistake. Go too quick.
Yep.
You really have to look at the ID involved and take it very seriously.
Okay, great. Any other questions?
I'm familiar with the organization, so I know what they go through before they bring a manager forth, so I'm confident that their decision would be a proper decision.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept Mr. Francoeur as manager of Pride Stores, Pride Market?
Motion made.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great.
Welcome.
That is-
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, now as far as,
I'm-
I was gonna say, as far as the second step, naming Mr. Gallo as substitute manager, does anyone have
Sorry
any?
about that.
What's that?
I said sorry about that, didn't mean to forget you. I'll make a motion that we accept you as the substitute manager.
Is there a second?
Motion made, seconded.
Is any discussion?
Just the same comment, having been there before, it's a very thorough organization,
Yeah.
great management, all the confidence, I have all the confidence in them, it's fine.
Very friendly, too.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We'll be seeing you, I stop in on.
Thank you very much, Chairman.
Welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Brownski, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right,
Moving right along.
moving right along.
Excuse me, wasn't that a public hearing?
Yes, why?
Didn't you ask if
Oh.
you had any questions? I didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean.
That's right.
Okay, so being newbies, I apologize.
No, that's
Not
okay.
being a
Doesn't
newbie.
no, I should have gone it too.
You know,
Does-
no, I just,
Okay, does anyone have any questions?
I did have a question, but it doesn't matter. I mean,
No.
I didn't want to put you on the spot.
No,
like
that's
that.
fine.
I just thought you were going to ask.
No, that's fine.
No, well, I did have a question. We had a public forum from 6 to 6:15, didn't we?
Yes.
I was here at 6:03, and then business was rolling on,
Actually, I don't think, you walked in after that because we had already gotten to Jim Shields, which was at 6:10, so.
Well, I was here when Jim Shields came aboard, and I was here at
So
6:03.
do you have
but-
something?
Yeah, did you have something you wanted to?
So first, should we take care of this first? Do you have-
No, I mean, we always would allot 15 minutes, and...
Well, we did.
I think if you check the
It's
tape
okay.
to see it wasn't...
It's okay.
Just like you forgot to ask if there was any
Okay.
questions for the public hearing that we just had.
Well, if you like, we can give you your time now if you'd like something.
Sure, it's okay. I mean, I'll come back before the meeting starts, and my question was, most of the time, select meetings started at 7 o'clock.
Right.
Okay, now they're starting at 6?
Mhm.
Okay. Will the public forums be held every month, the first meeting of the month?
Yes,
Okay. Will they be 15 minutes?
yes,
Okay.
There's a schedule of those out also.
right, that's, yeah.
It's a full schedule of those out, public record.
So did you have any
Of who was
questions
there.
for these folks from Pride?
No.
Okay, great.
It doesn't matter right now. I just did have a question at the public forum that I was going to ask, and
Well, we can allow it, can't
I
we?
mean, if you
Sure, we
want
could,
to.
yeah.
Okay, I guess you guys are
You
all
guys are all
set.
set.
Thank you so
Very
much.
good, thank you for your time.
Great.
You're welcome.
And Mr. Townsend, if the board allows,
Sure.
I have no problem, if you felt that we neglected you, you certainly can take the time now. Wouldn't want to,
Okay.
Not allow
I did
your
have
question.
questions. I had a question how the last election was held. We did have, I had a question on the ballot, that said vote for 2 on the ballot. And I was wondering why we had to vote for 2 on the ballot, and is that going to be removed on the vote for 2 on the ballot? Because this is one of the only towns that we have vote for 2 on the ballot.
This is really a question for the Board of Registrars and the town clerk, who's the election officer.
Okay, and again, that was the question that I had, vote for 2 on the ballot, and, tossed my paper when you went ahead with the meeting. And getting back to all the queries done on that, people that just came before you,
Okay, those were,
As far as the quarterly
Normal
report?
procedure was followed with respect to
Yes.
the analysis of any applicants for manager or substitute manager.
Right.
I didn't hear that discussed tonight. And I would always ask that question, but,
Well, we got the quarterly results back, and there were no questions to be asked because everyone passed, so.
okay. All right, well, let's see what else. So then if I show up at 6, it'll be open till 6:15?
The floor will be yours.
Okay, and I just want to, well, it doesn't have to be mine, just open
No,
on the
no,
public.
perfectly,
You know what I
perfectly
mean?
good question. Are
Yeah.
you, do you have other questions?
Let's see. No, that's going to do it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so
Thanks, sir.
much.
All right, moving on. I believe we want to recognize the response of our public safety officers to the Birchland Park Middle School incident, and I think, do you have some words to say about this?
Yes, I thought you were going to say them, I'll say them. I'd just like to recognize our public safety officials, the state officials that came, and the school committee members, and our superintendent of public schools for the response that they did for the incident at Birchland Park Middle School. Everybody went there, did what they were supposed to do, stood in harm's way, as they are asked to do many times, and they did it reasonably, effectively, calmly, inside of the school where the school committee members were, along with the superintendent of schools. There was a lot of communication on what to make for a statement, so the statement underlined, the severity of what was going on without scaring the public, and also to make the students and the parents feel confident that coming back to school the next day would be safe. I just want to recognize them and, congratulate them on a job well done. The second note, as far as our police department goes, I would like to commend them and the quick apprehension or the quick identification of the person that, or the people that did this and brought this act forward. I'd just like to make note that the person that answered the phone actually said, "Will you hold for a minute, please?" And the person that was on the other end did, and it facilitated getting things done a lot quicker. So I'd like to make public recognition of that. It was a job really well done. And we have an excellent public safety system. Anybody wants to question it, just discuss it with me. I'd be glad to. Backing them total, they did a great job.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I agree 100%, and it's a shame that we have to have these incidences, but in light of recent events, you can never be too safe, unfortunately. Moving on, next item is the MMA Annual Meeting and Trade Show, which I believe this may be the first time in history that all 3 select persons of East Longmeadow are going, because I know when I went my first year, I was told I was the first selectman ever to go from this town.
Is that right?
Yeah. As I ran into our former town administrator there, and he said, I've never seen an East Longmeadow selectman here, so we're all going. You guys will learn a lot from it. So as far as registration, I believe we're all registered, right?
This was on just to verify all 3 are
Do we have the dates
going
again?
to be registered.
It's like the 20,
I have to do my hotel thing tonight.
I think it's 26, 27?
25th, 26th.
26.
Friday, Saturday.
Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
right.
The registrations will be completed tomorrow.
Okay.
Great.
And as far as the credential votes, since I'll be there, it's usually the chairman who votes. Unless the chairman's not going to be there, I'll take care of the vote. I won't put you through that riveting meeting of voting for the new members.
Great.
And actually, the nominations, that's the next step. We usually get a slate of nominations, and I've learned from experience, they're all good people, and they move up through the ranks, and they help out at a statewide level for all of us elected officials. So do we have to approve their slate?
Are we asked to approve what was given to us?
I think, yes, it's up to the board to either approve or maybe make their own nominations.
Okay.
I believe the vote would be to direct the chairman to make that vote on behalf of the board.
Okay, is there a motion in
Make that
that
motion.
regard?
Motion made.
Is there a second?
Who made it?
I made it, you
Second.
Any discussion?
I've read the names, I don't know who they are. I'm going to trust that your words
You'll meet 'em if you-
of confidence in
yeah.
them is what we should be relying on, so I'm going to go with it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next item is our meeting schedule. Now, we've got, I don't know if either of you, I can tell you that with it being tax season, I'm not going anywhere unless it's in an ambulance. So if anyone else has any changes they'd like to make to the schedule, we might as well take care of it now. And also, is just to make sure, is the 6 o'clock starting time good for everyone?
It's great.
Okay.
It's a great time. I mean, it is for me, Deb.
6 o'clock is great. I do
Okay.
have a request for a date in February, and
Okay.
I apologize. I'm looking for,
Our 2 dates were the 5th and the 19th.
I will be away on the 19th.
Okay. And you don't want to phone in? I'm just
I'm
joking.
happy to phone in, but I don't think that,
Nick,
I mean, I would
And you're
rather-
gone for that calendar week, if you will?
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks, 19th through the,
I'm away, I'm sorry, thank you, I apologize.
no, it's okay.
I'm away, I'll be here for the 5th, I'm away for the 19th, so we can do it the following week.
Okay, so you're gone the 12th and the 19th as far
Yes,
as
sir.
Tuesdays go. Okay, so
Yes.
would anyone mind moving it to the 26th?
Fine with me, I'm not leaving till March.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, so move
That's
that
it
one to
for
the
me,
26th.
my one
and-
vacation
And
a
when are
year.
you going?
Up in the air still, I'll let you know. I
Okay.
just don't know
All
yet.
right,
It's
it's not
gonna
a
be
big
the end
deal.
of March, middle of March.
Okay,
Depends on
Okay.
when I get sick of the cold weather and decide to pick up.
okay,
Okay, so it'll be the 5th and the 26th in
Yes.
February. Thank you.
no problem. All right, next we have a memo from the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. They sent us their proposals or what they'd like to do for 2013.
And
There's
their
a lot there, boy.
accomplishments.
Yeah, so we will review that. And if there is any feedback, this is nothing that we have to vote on, right? It's just a matter of if we have any feedback to get back to them?
That's
Okay.
right.
So once everyone reviews those, we can get back to them with any, or get back through
It's just,
our town administrator.
you know, it's such a mixed bag what they go through. Some of it's regional, some of it's local, some of
Mhm.
it's state coming over here and kind of
Yeah.
guiding you and thinking what's best for you, and some of it's great stuff. It's
Right,
just,
right.
there's so much in there. Some of it I don't agree with.
Okay, well,
It's our responsibility to share that, though, because they are
Yes.
representing us as one of the cities and towns in the Pioneer Valley, so.
right. So once again, anyone, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to, we can work them through you if you don't mind, Nick, and get them to them for their
They just kind of want our
reading.
approval, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask if the board members do have those concerns, if it would be brought up at the January 22nd meeting. I believe it's a little bit time sensitive to the end
Okay.
of the month of January, so that if the board wishes to, either as a board or with exceptions from individual members, make comment and have them submitted to the planning commission, we would have time to do so before that deadline.
Okay?
Okay, great. Our next item is, we have a request from the Unico Club for a one-day liquor license, beer and wine, on Friday, February 8th, 2013, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at St. Luke's Church, 400 Prospect Street, in conjunction with their Porchetta Dinner fundraiser. And I believe their insurance is on file, and so they should be all set in that regard. Is there a motion for approval?
Motion made.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And next, we have a notification from Charter Cable. It's actually 2 items, everyone's favorite cable company. There's a franchise renewal. I believe our contract's up in February of 2016.
Correct.
And they like to start their discussions way in advance.
The law.
Yeah, the law, yeah.
Yes, the law does allow for that to occur. A notice from them to come into the board's attention as the franchise authority, 30 to 36 months.
36 to 30 months? Look at that.
Correct, ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
the decisions that the board needs to consider are whether or not to enter into a formal process called ascertainment, details of which I wouldn't necessarily get into at the moment, but, or go into a less formal process that the board could negotiate. Both would allow for public input during the process. The other point that I would make on the board's behalf, if I could, is that under the cable franchising law, the board is bound to negotiate with the incumbent, if you will, company, that the charter as that entity, the board must negotiate with them. That is part of cable law, not something that the board has any sway over. Along with, within those negotiations, the board does not have sway over content, bundling, if you will, of what channels are offered, nor does it have any authority to negotiate or even bring up in negotiations pricing, which oftentimes are the two main things that the board will receive comments on. And there are reasons for that I've been able to discuss with them over time that I'll be glad to speak with the board members on. I would say that the board at this point may want to consider this and to maybe get the Cable Advisory Committee active within the next month or two and have that committee discuss the matter and then come back to the Board of Selectmen with a recommendation, perhaps a little bit of a plan of action.
Okay. So should we, I'm trying to think if we should just try to set up an appointment with the Cable Advisory, get the commission in, maybe within
Excuse
next
me.
few weeks.
I believe that Selectman Punderson was appointed.
Cable Advisory?
the liaison for the Cable Advisory.
Was that one of them? I was
That was one
going
of-
to ask you for my complete list. I've gotten phone calls today from some of the other.
We did
It
get
was
that.
The Cable Advisory Committee, along with the LCAT, the
Right.
Longmeadow Community Access Committee. But I would advise the board make a recommendation that the board ask Selectman Punderson to.
I will contact them and get the necessary time
Great.
together that we can have a meeting and learn from their knowledge.
Good. And the only other item with the charter is, surprisingly enough, there's a rate
Rate
adjustment, and
adjustment.
the rates are going up a bit.
Oh, it's awful.
Who'd have thought? Okay, next on the agenda is the Board of Health.
And that's me.
Yes. See, you're light years ahead of last week.
You just hang on one sec here. Had an opportunity today to sit in with the DPW meeting, during which they had the principals from the Bark Park in. There's been some problems with the removal of dog waste, for a better word, dog feces, from the area that we now call the Bark Park. Originally, there was a waste contractor in Hamden that was going to remove it at no charge. After going through the removal of 55-gallon drums worth of this stuff, it's been determined that there's a fee at the recycling center. They have to burn it. Because there's plastic in with it, you can't just put it in with regular, the same type of materials that come in through the piping system and so forth. So what happened was, and John Collins talked with the head of the DPW, and they determined that we would, for a time, facilitate the cleaning up of it because it's, one, a health matter. Number two, it's just, the smell and so forth had to be taken care of. So at tonight's meeting, all that was discussed, and the person that's in charge of the Bark Park made indication that they raised $15,000 from a fundraiser to get this going, which I was pretty impressed with. It's used heavily. I'll just let you know, just to digress a little bit, it's 75% used by East Longmeadow residents, and the rest is a mixed use from basically all over the place, okay? But after constructing the Bark Park, they have enough funds left over to fund, it's like a $100 a month fee to have the contractor from Hamden take the waste away. So we offered a couple of suggestions, one being that they use smaller containers and that they do it themselves, take a pickup truck from one of the members and cart it off down to Bonnie's Island, that they request that the people that use the Bark Park take their own waste home with them and deposit it in their trash, which is acceptable. Yes, it's the same amount of stuff going in the trash in East Longmeadow, but it's in smaller portions, it gets diluted, and I think that's what the thinking is. So they pretty much understand that East Longmeadow will not incur any sort of financial responsibility to remove the waste from the area, and they're going to come back to the next meeting with a plan. So there's a couple of different plans out there. One, people take it home with them. Two, they take care of it themselves. Three, they fund the removal for the basic $100 or $120 a month fee through their their fundraiser. There was also a question brought up about the use of the water there, and evidently the water spigot was on the plan submitted to the planning board, and it's inside of a closed area. They also removed a backflow preventer, which is a valve on any domestic water supply, even in your home. If you have a hot water boiler, you have a backflow preventer, so nothing gets into the system and contaminates it, brings bacteria in. They were a little bit admonished for with the way they did that. That's been resolved. And what the town is going to do is put some faucets on the other side so everybody at the pavilion has water instead of just the bark park. And it was initially put there for the users of the pavilion. There is another report that I would defer comment on to Town Administrator, if you would, please. The HAN report.
Oh,
if you would like to make comment on that.
The next item on the board's agenda there is the HAN, the HHAN, and this is really just an advisory for the two new members. Chairman Federici's pretty well versed with this. The HAN is the Health and Home Area Network. It is an alert network set up by the state of Massachusetts that I've taken the liberty of asking them to set up accounts, and I will get you the information how to customize it for your access. What it does is it sends out various alerts, whether it's regarding severe weather or if there are food recalls, or if there are warnings about influenza. One came in this evening about influenza, and it will allow for you to be alerted via a number of medium, whether it's email, text messaging, cell phone, home phone, but you'll see that when you set that up.
That's great.
And on occasion, I believe it's maybe twice a year, maybe quarterly, there are call-down drills, so you may get a call and it'll ask you to, well, for all of the messages you receive, it'll ask you to enter a code. But you could limit it to being the most severe or moderate, or you could get them all. But that's what that network is for. It's proven to be, I think the chairman might agree, is that it's proven to be rather effective in getting information out quickly.
Great.
I thank you for your explanation. I didn't have the exact knowledge base to bring it forward like that, so I thank you very much. I don't have any other business with the Board of Health.
Oh,
there's actually one new item.
Oh, it's a new one.
And while you're looking that up, just to let you know, with this HAN system, if you have something like a potential tornado or something, you're going to be amazed at the amount of updates you get.
Really?
On your email. It's constant. I mean, they're keeping track of everything, so you know exactly what's going on at a moment's notice.
There we are. Oh, yes, we do have, okay. I'll read this for you. This is regarding Amy Higgins. I'm forwarding an email from Arlene, an attachment, which sadly is Amy Higgins' letter of resignation from her position as SVRHT's Wellness Coordinator. Amy has taken a full-time position with the BCBS as the Wellness Coordinator for Western Mass. It's a big loss for SVRHT, but a great opportunity for Amy. Respectfully submitted. Okay, from Arlene. Hi, see attached letter of resignation from Amy. She called me yesterday with the bad news. I have asked her to give us a month if she can so. We need to begin ASAP to find a replacement. Tom and Cheryl, I think we need to meet ASAP to discuss a strategy and get the process rolling. For now, see attached letter, and I will get back to you with some details. This is something I hadn't read, I'm sorry. That just goes on to talk about why she's leaving. Where do we go from here, Nick?
I was just going to say, I don't know if any of you knew of Amy, but I know
I don't know her.
She worked well, through the Scantic Valley Regional Trust, and I know besides her normal duties, she was getting people involved in health-related, I don't want to say contests, but things, little things to keep you
Wellness
physically
programs.
fit. As you can tell, I sort of bypassed them. But anyways,
Chairman, could
yes.
I just, by way of further explanation of what, if I could,
please.
the relationship with the Scantic Valley Regional Health Trust, as the chairman's aware, and board members may be aware, is the group that the town of East Longmeadow is a member community of and have been, I believe now, for upwards of 20 years. We obtain our health insurance services for our employees through this trust. Amy Higgins, 4.5 years ago, was hired to be the first wellness coordinator, and just as you were alluding to, set up any number of programs that were for any of the members within the Scannick Valley group or their families to attend and to participate in these programs. You can see that there's an urgency in the emails that Selectman Punderson had read regarding wanting to find a replacement quickly, because the programs do seem to be popular and employees do seem to take advantage of them, whether they're nicotine cessation, Zumba classes, and a number of wellness initiatives.
From your experience, what's the pool of qualified personnel to fill in? I mean, is this going to be a tough job, or is it going to be something that we can get 3 or 4 or 5 applications?
Well,
we don't hire, right?
It's not us.
Right.
Right?
Okay, so it's a regional, it's a regional, okay. So
So-
there's just a discussion as to getting somebody, okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I maybe just give another brief explanation about the Scannick Valley group. The group is comprised of 5 member communities and the Hamden-Wilbraham Regional School District as well. And anyway, they all have representatives on this. In the town of East Longmeadow is represented by the town accountant, which seems to be what the representatives mainly are. Arlene Miller is the chairman of the trust, and she has served in that capacity on behalf of, and also on behalf of the town of Longmeadow for any number of years. And the group meets monthly. They've met at the Wilbraham Town Hall. They are open, posted meetings, so if there's interest from any of the board members that would want to go and hear what is going on, they will be entering into the process now of determining what rates might look like for the coming year. So it's obviously very important. And also they will have representatives from the entities that we are able to pick our health services from, whether it's Blue Cross Blue Shield, Tufts, Health New England. Thank you. So it's a very important group, obviously, for the employees, and they seem to have done very well, prudent management, good reserves, and have been very fortunate over the last few years. I think the board members, once you become familiar, will be pleased with what you see with them.
Great.
Thanks, Nick.
So I do have that question still. What's the pool like for a fill-in?
For the, I don't remember what it was about 4.5 years ago, but what I will say is that the group, I believe, will be thorough in trying to find a very good replacement. Amy is somebody who really took the position being the first one, and I think their assessment would be that she set a pretty high bar. I mean, she was subject to reviews annually, and was always trying to find different ways to expand programming and make it feasible for a lot of, as many people to participate as possible. And in fact, she was here, I believe, either late last week or may have been yesterday. And this came as a surprise to me. I didn't know. I had a chance to say hello, and I don't go to those meetings on the board's behalf. Tom does. But I think that they will be able to draw and find somebody. How many applicants they're going to do, I don't know, but I would say to you that you can have confidence in the effort that they're going to put forth.
Great.
And the member communities are again?
It's East Longmeadow, Hamden, Longmeadow, Wilbraham, and the Hamden-Wilbraham Regional School District. And it may be also a part of, if not the whole portion of Lower Pioneer Valley Educational Collaborative.
Okay.
But I haven't been in quite a while, so call me on that one.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nick. Next, before we get to town council, we'll go through the meetings, invitations, and reminders. There'll be a Design Select Committee meeting Friday, January 11th, 2013 at 12:15, Town Hall hearing room regarding the Pine Knoll Pool. The Capital Planning Committee meeting Monday, January 14th, 2013, 6:30 p.m. in the Town Hall hearing room. There'll be a Planning Board meeting Tuesday, January 15th, 2013, 7 p.m. in the Town Hall hearing room. Design Selection Committee meeting Thursday, January 16, 2013, at 10 a.m. in the Town Hall hearing room regarding municipal space study. There'll be a Board of Selectmen's meeting with the department heads Thursday, January 16, 2000.
Wednesday, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, I'm sorry, Wednesday, January 16th. 6 p.m. regarding budgets in the Town Hall hearing room. The town offices are closed Monday, January 21st, 2013, in observance of Martin Luther King Day. Board of Selectmen's meeting Tuesday, January 22nd, 2013, 6 p.m. in the Town Hall hearing room. And there was an invitation from the district attorney regarding a presentation of Telling Amy's Story, Wednesday, January 23rd, 2013, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the Commons, Western New England University School of Law, Springfield. And there's an RSVP to a private reception. Now, Mr. Barrister.
Good evening again.
Mr. Barrister.
Sir?
Hello, Jim.
What I think we'll do, if it's okay with you, is we'll go through the regular items and then we'll go into executive to end the meeting.
Great, that's fine.
It's a great idea.
To that end, I would suggest that the collective bargaining discussion regarding union contracts would be executive. Non-union contract negotiations would be executive, and then discussions with town council regarding legal issues would be executive.
What about item 24, since it might be a collective bargaining issue?
Which is?
FMLA?
I have no idea what that information deals with, so I can't tell you at this point, Nick. I turn to your executive administrative assistant.
Personnel issue.
I would suggest that it would be an executive session item with strategy with respect to collective bargaining and also a particular personnel issue.
Strategies, okay.
Yep.
Okay, and obviously, item 19 also would be
Notices of
Litigation.
potential litigation, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so that leaves us, the first item is the water tower cell lease. Now, I believe,
We talked
correct me
about
if I'm
the
wrong,
last
but
meeting.
didn't we have to get sort of like the go-ahead from the DPW or to be able to?
I think that after meeting with them tonight, they're going to want to talk to Jim to fully understand. I explained to them basically that the existing structure is the Board of Selectmen is responsible for the land, and the DPW is responsible for the structure. And we had, if you just want to go ahead with the discussion that we had, that's fine. Pertaining to why there's a little difference in the way we're going at the contractual agreement.
This is the lease that was executed in the early 1990s, before any of us were involved.
93 or somewhere around there was right.
In town government, and with its extensions runs through this April,
April 30th.
I believe. And at that time, when that original lease was executed, the Board of Public Works actually did the negotiations with Verizon, and upon the completion of the negotiations, forwarded it to the Board of Selectmen for execution under both signatures of the Board of Public Works and the Board of Selectmen. This lease is expiring now. We're going out to bid again, and my discussions with the town administrator was there was a reason that both boards wanted to be involved, so let's keep the same protocol that we had in place at that time. It really is more likely probably a Board of Public Works facility, because it is a water tower under their control, but in the past, they had deferred to the Board of Selectmen as being a co-signer on the lease with them, so we kept the same structure.
Right.
And I don't have a better reason for that than that statement.
So is there an issue?
But their issue was deeming it not unused property, but
In order to go out to bid
Right.
under 30B, there has to be a determination that the land or the facility that's being put out to lease or to sale is surplus
surplus, right?
property, in the sense that it's not needed for municipal purposes at the present time, and that it's available to be leased or sold to a third party. And that is the designation that has to be made before we can put out a request for proposals.
Right.
And I think that it is the Board of Selectmen has already made that
Right,
determination.
and we simply wanted to check with them.
Right,
But in
and
what-
in their, and now they need to make that determination, and apparently they've got some questions as to what that is.
I see.
Well, they determined that it's not land, it's the top of the water tank, and it's not surplus, it's the top of our water tank. Is it a surplus surface, maybe? And so they just wanted to discuss it with you, because the wording, it's not surplus, it's being used, it's our second water tower. So I think they had a problem, you know, they just had a problem with the wording of it, but they did mention after we discussed it for a while, and I brought forward what we discussed earlier today, and the question still came up
fine.
about that, and
I'll
they
talk
suggested
with-
they just discuss it with you, and I said, that's,
Okay, great.
I'll talk with David and have him schedule a meeting if the board wants to meet, or if I can answer his questions, I'll be glad to do it.
you know, and they had some concerns about the, is there a deconstruction clause, should and if, or when and if it does happen, if Verizon is not allowed to remain, do they have a deconstruction clause to
There is.
remove? These cables are 6 inches, 4 or 5, 6 inches, and there's like 9 of them. This isn't just a little thing that runs down, there's quite a bit of material. And
That's
there's
in the
also-
existing lease.
Yeah, and they had some, excuse me, some questions about the little building that they have and doing work out of and so forth, and access and surveillance, and they had all sorts of stuff that came up, okay?
All right, so you'll get in touch with
Great.
them. Okay, great.
My question would be, the Board of Selectmen, I believe, is amenable to considering this as available for lease, is my understanding. And I don't want to put the board, on the spot here, but do you need to hear back from the Board of Public Works that they're satisfied before I can proceed with the issuance of the RFP? I just want to be clear on that.
I think that's what we agreed.
I think we should.
And I'll schedule a meeting with
Yeah.
David and have him put me on the board's agenda if the board wants to talk about that, so we can get their vote on that matter.
And we'll hold off on April 22nd, if that's okay, for the RFP discussion.
I just want to be clear
Yes.
as to what I
Sure.
need to
Okay.
wait for.
I'm sorry. I did mention, because you had a little caveat at the end of our discussion, saying that if they wanted to be considered the sole entity concerning that lease, that they could, you didn't have a problem with the BOS getting out of that.
It's really the board's concern. I don't believe that the Board of Selectmen is actively involved in that parcel, because it's land, the building is on the land, but it's all under the direct control of the Board of Public Works. Selectmen
Right.
really have no direct
It would
jurisdiction
make
out
more
there.
sense for them to be.
So it takes a step out of the process. They could be going ahead, or could have or not had to wait for us to
Right.
make comment on it. It could have been
Right.
probably resolved quicker, and if this isn't the only one we're involved in, I don't know, because I don't have any past experience. I don't know if there's any other lease type of thing that we have we
Well,
have
the
to
lease-
sign off with.
The lease, we'll have a prototype lease on the RFP that Nick is going to be sending out for the various telecommunications companies to look at. The normal process is that their council reviews the document, comes back and says, we want all these changes, and we basically say no. And then eventually they want our tower, so they sign a lease.
Sign the lease, right.
So we're going to negotiate with them anyway, whether I'm negotiating under the direction of the Board of Selectmen or negotiating under the direction of the Board of Public Works. It's basically going to be the same result.
Makes sense that if we remove ourselves, there's no need for us to be involved. Just a second step,
Well,
I
it
think is a great point.
streamlines a little bit, and,
Correct.
basically, if you're
Yeah.
looking at what it really is, it's a function of the DPW.
Right.
If it's just a little bit of checks and balance, or they want somebody else along in the ship with them, I mean, that's why we're there, basically.
Okay.
That's all it is.
That's fine. We can work that out.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, then, I would have a question then for the board. Who is conducting the lease process, and who is going to be the awarding authority? Who is conducting the bid process, who is going to be the awarding authority, and who is going to sign the lease?
That's going to be the discussion that's going to take place with the Board of Public Works.
Okay. And based
We're
on
going to let them decide whether they want the Board of Selectmen to be involved or not.
And that will answer the
And
question.
they may, to say, well, we've done it collectively, rather than standing alone, you don't know, but.
I just kept the Board of Selectmen in the process because that's a process that had existed in the town before, and didn't think it was our place to change that process unless the boards want it changed.
Okay, thank you.
Next item is the late applicants for the massage therapy bylaw change.
Apparently, Nick and I met with the building commissioner and the planning director late last week to determine the status of the massage therapists who have been practicing in the community and who are required under the new bylaw adopted at the last annual town meeting to file for a special permit. I believe there were 6 or 7 of the existing facilities that had not reapplied or applied for the special permit approval as of the time of our meeting, which was around 2 o'clock on last Friday. The planning administrator had informed all of the massage therapists who had not reapplied that she was extending the deadline for their application to the end of the day on Friday because of the holiday and the town hall being closed and on the 31st and whatnot. So I have not been informed that any more applications came in between our meeting at 2 and the close of town hall at 4, so I'm assuming there were 7. The determination that I suggested be made by the building commissioner was that he personally go to each of the 7 massage therapist sites, inform the applicants personally that they were now in violation of the bylaw, that they now would have to apply as if they were a new massage facility and fall under the new special permitting requirements just as any new facility that will be coming in. And the reason I suggested that to him is that there's no language in the ordinance that allows him to make any other determination where the window for the applications is closed, and it closed on Friday. So unless the town meeting wishes to take some action to extend that for these existing facilities, they will be in violation of the bylaw and be subject to the non-criminal disposition penalties and any other action that may be necessary to bring them into compliance. Now, they are existing facilities that, for the most part, we've had no real problem with, so no one's anxious to make life more difficult for them. But the building commissioner is aware of the fact that he does have to make them come into compliance. And it's sort of complicated by the fact that there are approximately 15 or 16 massage facilities that did comply on time. So not to require these facilities to follow the new rules is sort of unfair to those other facilities that did. So we're trying to be equitable without being overly harsh to these businesses, but they do have to, I think, understand, and the building commissioner has told them, I believe today or yesterday, that they do have to come into compliance or are going to face penalties.
Is there a date that they will face these penalties?
I talked with the commissioner as liaison to the building department. He says he's thinking of a 7-day period, and at the end of that,
he was going to. We didn't discuss a specific date, but he was going to give them a little time to get their application. It's going to take them a little time if they haven't done their application, because now they have to do a full-fledged special permit application.
Right, because yeah.
Does that renew the whole process of going in front of the planning board and all that?
Yep.
It does.
They're going to go through the planning board for the full special permit process. The window gave them the ability just to file for the special permit, and it would be granted because there's existing facilities. They weren't going to go through the parking review and landscaping and all those other conditions that they have to meet for the special permit.
Boy, I'll tell you, they really blew it. I mean, missed an opportunity, I should say that. So what'll happen is, if he issues a 7-day notification to comply, and they say, okay, we're going to get into the process, then between that time and the time they get through the planning board, they're going to be operating.
If they operate, they will be operating in violation of the bylaw.
Right.
Now, whether he's able to observe, I mean, he's not, I will tell you as a practical matter, given his workload and other issues that are there, I'm sure he's not going to be going in the door and knocking on the door and saying, are you in operation? But if it comes to his attention during this period of time that they are in operation, they will be cited with tickets for non-criminal disposition, just like any other violator of the bylaw.
Okay. You want to, I'm sorry, go
I was
ahead.
saying, how long does that go on before there's more severe punishment? I mean,
If the ticketing
is
doesn't...
there, I don't mean to interrupt you, but is there a time limit, like I ticket you today,
Yes.
and you keep going? It's not like another week you get another ticket, or it's just a discretion of whoever gets there?
Pretty much the discretion of the building commissioner. I mean, when he determines that tickets are not correcting the problem. So that if he's given a person 3 or 4 or 5 tickets and the situation isn't being corrected, then he will contact my office and say we want to initiate a cease and desist. The order of cease and desist, and if they violate that, we bring the matter to the housing court for an order for the people to comply.
Because their licenses are state licenses, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there's nothing we can do in that regard as far as...
No, but we can order the facility closed.
Okay.
Which no one wants to do.
Right.
So hopefully all of these...
Right, but you also don't want people to...
Perceive that you're
laugh in
allowing-
the face of the system and just move on as if, you
Yeah.
know...
See, and that's the dilemma that we're in. That you don't want to, these people are already upset that the bylaw went in and applied to them
Right.
to begin with. So that was one of the reasons to give them the extended time to comply, so that they wouldn't be put in a
Right.
difficult situation like this. Now they've failed to take any action, and they're in that situation. And now the town is in a position of having to enforce the bylaw against these facilities if they don't come into compliance. And the commissioner will do what he has to do to bring them into compliance. Because as you say, we don't want people to think that the rules are there, and if you don't comply with them, you don't have to.
Right.
I have just 2 questions, if I may. How long what was the notification they were given when the bylaw was changed?
May, it was adopted in May.
So that's a long
7
time.
months.
That's a long time. Also, the additional one that's operating in the incorrect district, I spoke with Dan about that also. I had a conversation with you about it. Do you want to
Yeah.
bring that forward, or?
Well, it's really not a direct matter for the board, other than that it's under the control or the responsibility of the building commissioner to bring it into compliance. But in the process of this renewal, or these special permits for existing facilities, a licensed massage facility that has been operating for a couple of years in town applied for the special permit. And the planning director, in reviewing the application, found that the initial approval of site plan or waiver of site plan had been made in error, that this facility was located in a commercial zone, and the commercial zoning district does not permit massage facilities. So this particular business is going to be notified. I suggested that the planning board actually take the initial steps to bring this property into compliance rather than the building commissioner, because if the building, my experience has been, if this person believes they're operating legitimately, the building commissioner comes in and says you're in violation, the first thing they're going to do is say, I have a valid approval from planning, and he's getting that war. So the suggestion had been to take that issue out of the picture for the planning board to notify this particular facility that there was a problem with their operation, bring them in, explain the situation to them, give them time to either move to adjust the zoning bylaw or to find another location that's a permissible use. As you may or may not be aware, the zoning bylaws do not allow for use variances, so there's no other means for this facility to be allowed to operate in a commercial zone unless the zoning bylaw were changed to allow that to happen. So this particular facility that's been running for a few years has 2 options. 1, move to a new location, or 2, seek to get an amendment to the bylaws by the town meeting.
I had one of the members of the planning board call me yesterday and discuss it, and just kind of throw it around, discuss it. And I was thinking, being a former chair of the planning board, that maybe they should petition for a change in the bylaw, because really, if you look at what the facility does, it's got a concentration of professional people there to use their trade at, so to speak. I'm not talking about allowing a walk-in retail business, but, there's Dr. Dennis and things like that, a massage parlor. I mean, I don't like to use that word, but, a professional massage business that wants to go in there and attend to people that have been at desks, computers, or whatever, it just makes sense. So maybe the problem will bring something forward that relieves it. Plus, it actually adds another layer of permissible use to a building that may be vacant because it doesn't have the right tenant. So if you take a really viable tenant that wasn't allowed in before and allowed, it brings a little bit of value to the district and to the building itself. So it's actually, this could be a plus. It's not good for the people going through it, but it might be a plus eventually. We get a change and the town says, well, that sounds like a good idea, especially in this day and age. And it adds another layer of permitted use, good use. So that's just something, it's up for discussion.
So no action at this point?
At this point, there is, on that particular aspect, there is, on that particular license, the planning board, I believe, is bringing her in for the next meeting, which is next Tuesday.
Okay. Our next item that is the request from the beer shop, 33 Harkins Avenue, for the,
They filed two requests.
yes.
One request is to be allowed to serve samplings of cordials.
Is it samplings or sell?
No,
They-
samplings.
Because it
The
says
second
here,
request
to
is
sell wine and malt
sell
beverages.
liquors and cordials under the approval of the local board and the ABCC. That's the email that's here.
Yeah, well, but the issue is that they're beer and wine.
Yep.
Right.
And they're citing Section 12 of Chapter 138, which is the pouring, which is the restaurant section. It's the on-premises consumption of alcohol. And so they don't qualify
Okay.
for this. And so the only thing that they could qualify for at some point, if they serve food and other things, is they might be able to serve samples of alcohol that they sell. But since they can't sell cordials under their license, because that's hard liquor, they can't do it. So
Okay.
their application is not something you can work on, and Nick should notify them that it's not permissible.
Okay.
And if they want to, they have to go through.
Well, they can't.
They can't.
Period.
They're the
Liquor
wrong
license.
type of license.
Yeah.
They're,
Beer and wine license, they can't sell liquor.
They can't apply for a new license or another license.
I
We're
think
at
your
our quota,
license
aren't
is
we?
a
No,
max.
that's why we
That's
gave them
why.
that license.
Thank you, hello. Okay.
At this point, under the
Wine and beer
quota.
only.
Yeah, there's a formula for the residents, number of residents, the number of liquor
5,000.
licenses, 5,000, yeah.
Unfortunately.
We're out. We're out of
Out.
licenses.
Right.
Okay.
We're full.
And the second license that they are requesting you to consider is a transportation license, which is a request for you to allow them to transport alcoholic beverages to their customers. So if people buy something in the store, that they can deliver it to them. You don't have the authority as a board to grant that request. It is permissible, but that is a action that's only approvable by the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission.
And they would apply to the ABCC?
Right.
Okay.
We can't make a determination on the
And then there's,
MGLs.
and I'm told that it's a fairly straightforward approval by the ABCC. But the problem is they have to identify the vehicle that they're going to use to transport, vehicle identification number and all of that. They also have to maintain with them, when they're making the transport, the slip that shows who the buyer was and what the product is that they're buying. And they also have to keep a record of the purchaser, what they delivered to them, so that they've complied with the age. So it's really not a great thing for a package store, in my estimation, to be doing.
Not
But
like selling
It's a
if they
good
want to do
idea
what
for
they
added customer service, if that's what they're looking to do.
Yeah.
Right, but it opens up to a lot of potential liability issues down the road. But if they do want to do that, that request will be directly to the ABCC. If it was granted, you would not even be notified as a board. It's strictly between the ABCC and the license holder.
Okay,
Great.
thanks.
So Nick, you don't mind notifying them of both of those items? Now, if someone would Make a motion to go into executive session for purposes of discussion of
So
notices
made.
of potential litigation, collective bargaining, non-union negotiations,
So moved.
Discussion with council.
the discussion with council.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye?
Is it an aye or a yes?
Aye. It's a no, then we get, Mr. Punderson? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Bronski, yes. Mr. Federici, yes. Okay. And that was to return, only to adjourn, so.
Return to adjourn. This is for you, Paul? This is the selectman for all of us?